No. I'd say I'm reasonable.
Okay, that's completely unreasonable.
You have no idea just how reasonable I have been.
Reasonable synonyms are sensible, rational, practical, fair, appropriate.
Fitting, suitable, logical.
All things I would definitely say describe me.
Do they describe you?
Welcome to Unreasonable with Zaynab Johnson.
I'm reasonable.
Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up? How you guys doing? Shout out to our moderators, Still I Rise, Shaneria K. Thank you so much for being here. I actually met Shaneria in person. Shaneria was at one of my Atlanta shows this past weekend, and it was a pleasure putting a real person to like the, to our I'm Reasonable sort of like virtual community. Forgive me if I look tired, sound tired. I am tired, which is why I'm drinking a kombucha. And I just put an ice cube on my face because I was so tired when I got back home today. And, excuse me, I couldn't put on any makeup. You know, some days aren't for makeup. I'm sorry. Unless you got a job that requires it. Or like you like to get fancy for like church or something like that. Or you just like to wear makeup. That's you can do that. But for me, I'll be like, after 2 nights of makeup doing shows, and I'll be wearing a bare minimum makeup. But I'm like, I can't do it no more. Shout out to everybody that came to my Atlanta shows. They were fantastic. The 10 o'clock show, I was so damn tired. I was up for like 48 hours straight. Like I was in Austin doing press for Upload, which was fun. I can't wait for everybody to see the 4th and final season. So if you haven't watched seasons 1 through 3, watch seasons 1 through 3 already, okay? Because season 4 is the 4th and the final, and it is coming soon, all right? And you know, Upload is not one of them comedies where you could just tune into not knowing what's going on. You got to know what's going on. And I think it is a better experience if you don't watch the recap, but you just go watch all those. That's what I'm gonna do. Maybe I'll do like a watch party. Maybe I'll do that. And we'll do just a whole binge then watch all three seasons and then I don't know. But I did 2 shows. So thank you, Atlanta. Whoever was at the Atlanta shows for selling out my Atlanta shows this weekend. And then I did something called a Black Romance Book Festival. That's what I did in Atlanta. Saturday night, I performed for them. That was such a fun show. The show was so fun, I almost wished that the whole world could see it. This girl at the show, she was like, "Did you tape that?" I was like, "I didn't. I ain't even do no, I was just messing around with y'all. I only did 1 written joke." And she was like, "Dang, that seemed like everybody should see that. That was so funny." She was like, "You got me showing all my teeth." Like that was so, and I was just talking about relationships. Cause I think that's the next hour. I think that's the next hour's relationships. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning into I'm Reasonable, the Weekend Live with Zaynab Johnson. Let me do not disturb. Let's go ahead and put on our do not disturb. Thank you so much. Am I saying it Okoi or is it OKE or put it phonetically? Thank you so much. Oh, maybe we will work together one day. Okay, let's see who's in the building. Seabreeze40, how are you? Janice, how are you? LP Spider, ma'am. Elaine, hello. Nanga, good afternoon. Mrs. Jones, hello. Vondra, hey. Cadence, happy Pride Month. Yes, today is June 1st, and June is Pride Month. So happy Pride, everybody. Teneria. Oh, we got a Canaria. No, we don't got a Canaria. What am I talking about? We got a Shaneria and we got a Teneria. Now all we need is a Zaneria. Hey, y'all, Samira. Hi, Samira. Samira! Wait, Samira, did you make the live? Do you always make the live or no? Or are you a part of the rewatch? Anyway, hey girl, hey. Miss Josie, hey. Sue H. Ooh, I like Z Nation. Z Nation, The Reasons, the Zainabis. I mean, listen. Who said we can't have multiple names, right? Yes, my upcoming shows this weekend, I will be in this coming weekend, starting June 5th, I will be in St. Louis, Missouri, at the City Winery in St. Louis, Missouri, okay? And then that is June 5th, and then June 6th through the 8th. Friday through Sunday, I will be in Kansas City, Missouri. You know what I'm saying? So if you're in Kansas City, Missouri, if you come see me. Okay, I'll be at the Kansas City Comedy Club in Kansas City, Missouri, June 6th through the 8th. Make sure you guys get those tickets. You can get those tickets on my website, zainabjohnson.com, ZAINAB Johnson. Thank you. Oh, we got we got two Samiras in the building. Tan, how you doing? Okay, you're telling me how to say your name. Your name is Akez, but my nickname is pronounced Okoye. Okay, Okoye. Gotcha. I like how even Akez, I don't know if I'm saying it right. You were supposed to put both them things in a phonetic spelling. But what's up, Okoye? Hey, She Who Succeeds. Nikita Kiera, Happy Pride Month. Okay, did y'all see this video? Now, this is perfect for me to talk about because I just got off the plane and I'm on planes every week, right? And you guys, I think you know, but I most often fly Delta. The only time I don't fly Delta is if Delta is not available in that city. Like if that city is a city that is mostly used like by United or American, or it's really like when I went to Tulsa, I flew Allegiant there, and I flew United back. But I flew Allegiant there. I've never been on an Allegiant flight. It was humbling. And uncomfortable. I'm be honest with you. Yeah. So, but I fly a lot, and so there's a story that's going viral. This young girl, I think she's 11 years old. She is on a Delta flight, and the flight is either leaving Orlando or on its way to Orlando, but it's delayed. It's delayed for 2 hours. And the parents encouraged this little girl. I don't know if she was on her way to Orlando, because you know that's where Disneyland or World is. One of the Disney parks, one of the Disney theme parks is in Orlando, Florida. So I don't know if they was on their way there. Maybe the girl was trying to audition for a part. I'm not really sure. But because of the delay, so they're clearly delayed and stuck on the plane. I hate a delay. Everybody hates a delay. But a delay while you in a terminal is so much better than a delay on the ground. When you on a plane, when you got to just sit on the tarmac, because you on a runway, you can't do nothing. You can't. So 2 hours, they not giving you no snacks. You can't use the bathroom. You can't do nothing. You can't stand up and get nothing from the overhead. You just kind of stuck there. At least if you delayed in the terminal, you could go use the bathroom. You could get some snacks. You could get your steps in. You could do a little bit of walking. The Wi-Fi signal is going to be better. Your phone signal is going to be better. Maybe you could plug your stuff in. You hear what I'm saying? Like maybe you could stretch out. You could do all of it. Maybe you can change your mind and say, you know what? Let me have somebody pick me up. I'll do this trip another time. I just put the retouch on. Oh, because today your girl needs it. It's like, why you put the retouch on after? It's like, girl, we already saw you. We already saw what you looking like. I think the only time people like to be kind of delayed, at least for a little while, already on the plane, when you're about to take off, is because I think something happens psychologically that makes you feel like, well, if we on a plane, we going to be taking off soon because we on a plane. Like, they got to get us in the air now because we on a plane. I think it feels a little bit more hopeful than when you in the terminal. I think that's the only thing, like, psychologically that it does. But after like 2 hours, that's too long. Now you feel like you hostage. You feel like you're a prisoner of the freaking airplane. So it's delayed for 2 hours. I guess the parents or parent, I don't know, they convinced the little girl, they encouraged the little girl rather, to go on the plane's PA system. You know the plane's PA system. That's the phone that the flight attendants be getting on, and they be telling you, buckle your seatbelts. We doing this. We got these credit card. You could get a bunch of miles. All of that type of stuff. Some of the flight attendants that got a little bit of sense of humor, they find a way to work some comedy, some material into their, announcements, But she gets on that. If you ever been on like most Delta planes, right? They have a bathroom in the middle. So Delta will have a bathroom in first class. Then they'll have a bathroom in the middle of the plane, right? And this is clearly a domestic flight. They'll have a bathroom in the middle of the plane, and then they'll have bathrooms in the back of the plane. So she was in the middle. She was in the middle of the plane. I'm saying it's clearly a domestic flight. I don't know. But so the little girl gets on the PA system, and she starts singing the Grammy. I think they won a Grammy for the Moana song. The Moana song. And I noticed when I'm looking here, so I guess we should watch the video first, right? Just so y'all can see it, just in case you haven't seen it. I'll show you guys the video.
No matter how hard I try, every turn I take, every trail I track, every path I make, every road leads back to the place I know where I cannot go, where I love to be. See the line where the sky meets the sea, it calls me, and no one knows how far it goes. Yet the wind in my sail on the sea stays behind me. One day I'll know. If I go, there's just no telling how far I'll go. I know everybody on this island has a role on this island. Everything is by design. I know.
Okay, so it's gonna go on for about 2 minutes. We don't gotta watch the whole thing. You get the point. And I don't want to disparage the little girl. Cause she a little girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, she might need a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? She might need. Her voice don't sound bad. If we just judging what she sounds like, her voice don't sound bad at all. But she just, you know what I'm saying? She ain't really got the sauce enough for me to sit through 2 minutes on a TikTok. So that's what happened. And it went viral because somebody posted the video. Obviously, that video has 3.6 million views. And that person that posted the video, I think they posted it. Obviously, on the video, it says like a teary-eyed emoji and a heart and a star. So the person that posted it, they liked it. They were also singing along to that song. But then once it hit the internet, everybody in the comments was like, most people, it was very negative. It was very much negative. And then a lot of videos started surfacing on TikTok. Other passengers, so many other passengers on the plane recording themselves as the young girl was singing, and they were like kind of like over it, and they had, I'm sure, what they believe are funny things to say, like where they would rather be. And so, what do y'all think? Do you think that was unreasonable or reasonable for her to get up there and say, we're going to go in tiers. We're going to go in, because there's levels to this. There's levels to this, okay? But let me see what y'all think. So she who succeeds said totally unreasonable to subject the other passengers to that. Nenga said, even if she sound like a young Patty, don't do that. Liu Kang said, I don't care if it was Beyonce. No, ma'am, sit your ass down. I love how funny we get, but I'm going to be very honest with you. No one, we got to be honest, no one, and I get the hyperbole, I get the exaggeration to prove your point. But if Beyonce gets up on your flight and sings for free for 2 minutes, ain't nobody about to say, B, sit your ass down. Nobody. Still I Rise, she did the entire song. Tim Damon, you was waiting for me to shut it off. I had to look down like how much of the time. I'm like, oh, it's about to be 2 minutes. We can't do that. Also, I can't have Disney affecting this video just because the little girl singing a Moana song. Disney mess around and be like, this is a copyright infringement. And I would be like, Disney, are you sure? Did you hear that? Maya Spike said the girl singing on the plane was completely unreasonable. Caden said unreasonable and wasn't even singing. Taka said they think that it is reasonable and the little girl was in tune. It wasn't grating. Liu Kang said, I know you're gonna stand doing it in his comments because I understand like human behavior, but I know you. So like, see, this is what there's about 200 people on this plane, 350 people on this plane. You never been that close to Beyonce, even at the concert. That's how I know you wouldn't be like, sit your ass down, B. That's how I know. Cause it's such a unreal situation that you can't even tap in. I know what you think you would do, but I know what you will do. You're gonna make a video and you're gonna be like, Beyonce is on my plane singing. I know what everyone is going to do. Especially if you're already a fan of Beyonce, but I know what you think you will do. I understand, you know, what humans, how we are. But yeah, no, you not. Just trust me, Lou. Trust me. John Scott says, I'm reasonable AF. My airfare wasn't paid to be subjected to your white privilege. That's a caveat. That is a caveat here. Because I do plan on bringing up the gospel singer that was very excited that she was nominated for a Grammy. And she was singing also on a Delta flight. And it did not go like this. Okay, so I'm going to just say something about human beings and the internet especially. So many people be lying. And I posted a joke during the election, right? After the election, right before, it was when I was performing in Washington, D.C., and it was the inauguration. And the inauguration fell on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s day, right? Holiday. And my joke that I posted was, you know, there's so much commentary, like how dare he? All of the anti-Trump people were like, oh, how dare he? How dare he make the inauguration on this day? That's a slap in the face. And of course he would do that when the inauguration date was not planned by him, chosen by him, had nothing to do with him, right? And in the joke, I said, he is already, he does enough awful things. The facts are enough. You do not have to exaggerate. Most of the choices he makes and the things that he says, everything that he presents, in my opinion, are so problematic that you don't even have to water it down. You don't even have to exaggerate or lie. You actually do a disservice to your argument. So now, one of the first videos that went viral after they posted this girl singing was another person on a plane also posted her reaction and was like, flight is delayed 2 hours and girl is singing a Moana song for 45 minutes. 45 minutes. So that, of course, the internet was like, if you was going to allow this at all, if you could find any sort of grace in your heart at all to be like, I mean, this is not ideal, but you know what I'm saying? It's like people be doing a lot worse things, right? You found it in your heart to be like, I mean, it's not, I don't really want that, but you know, the fact that somebody says 45 minutes already, first of all, when your flight is delayed, traveling sucks, period. The only good thing about traveling is is that you get to either a destination that you want to be at or you get home where you want to be at. That's the only perk to traveling, is that it gets you somewhere where you want to be. But the actual chore of traveling sucks, especially currently. Lines are long. TSA agents got attitudes. It's expensive. Climate change. Planes be breaking, falling out the sky. We ain't got air traffic controller. Do you get what I'm saying? People be crazy on the plane. Flight attendants be unprofessional. Like, it's so, like, it is especially, I never lived in a time where flight attendants was like fashionable and walking through the thing, you know what I'm saying? Like it was a spectacle, everybody dressed up and you know what I'm saying? And everybody had like a whiskey on the rocks, and then you flew, I don't know, what was the plane? What was that plane in the Leonardo DiCaprio movie? I don't know. And then you flew, do you get what I'm saying? It was this very exclusive and sort of like resort type experience. That is not, everybody is flying because it's like, this is what we got to do to get where we trying to go. So it's already not a pleasurable experience. Then when you add a delay on top of that, when you add a delay, don't nobody want to be a delay. And who knows why the delay was. This is something that they don't say in all the videos and all the coverage. They don't say why it's a delay. I do believe that when it's a rainstorm, a snowstorm, a hurricane, tornadoes, blah, 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 an engine is on fire, whatever. People be like, okay, I can sit here. I understand the delay because I value my life so much. I understand that it's probably not wise for us to take off in that sky while I see nothing but lightning bolts up there. So this is something that I can understand, right? But when we be delayed and they don't tell you nothing, or they tell you something that you feel like could have been avoided, that's the thing that be blowing me. So wait, I'm the first flight out. This flight been here overnight, and now you telling me y'all ain't put enough fuel in it? And what? It's gonna take 2 hours for them to fuel. Well, I saw a gas station on the way to the airport. Why is this taking so? You know what I'm saying? Those be like the frustrating part. So you already your frustration. It's already disturbed, right? It's already heightened by the delay. So then this could be like another nuisance, right? Like, there's so many things. You could have a disruptive passenger. You could have somebody that just won't stop talking to you. You could have a baby on a plane that's crying. You get what I'm saying? You could have somebody that's sitting next to you and they may be like, I don't know, maybe they smell a certain way. Maybe you got somebody kicking the back of yours. There's so many nuisances, right? So now you add somebody getting up on a PA system, which, as somebody mentioned in the comments, it ain't even a good sound system. That's how I know Beyonce wouldn't have got up. Because Beyonce would have said, oh, no, you guys don't have the technical requirements for my voice. Beyonce would have said, only way I can sing is if I sing a cappella. She would have hit a note and been like, oh no, the plane doesn't have good acoustics. Yeah, this is below the level that I need to perform. So I can't even, yeah. You want me to sing on a PA? No, I'm sorry. I haven't sang on a PA since Matthew was my manager back in 1991. I haven't done that. No, I can't do that. So it's all of this, right? It's just layers of why this is a problem. And then you're going to add the insult to the injury, which is, and she doing it for 45 minutes. And so when I first saw that, I was like, that's unreasonable. Whew, that is unreasonable. Then all you got to do is do 2 or 3 more clicks. And you realize it's a lie. You realize that little girl was only up there for 2 minutes 3 minutes tops. So let's deal with the truth. And it is okay if even at 3 minutes you feel like, nope, this is not what I signed up for. I signed up for a lot of shit that I'm not okay with on this plane, but this is not one of the things that I signed up. That I signed up for. So I just feel like when I understand like going viral, I understand like being funny, I understand like I don't know, like, but it's too much lying online. It's too much lying on the internet. Stop trying to get attention for lies. The truth is enough. So many people know that it was only 2 minutes and they don't care. Some people agree with you. They feel like it's unreasonable for her to even be up out her seat. And clearly, if y'all look at that video again, we delayed on the flight. The song was How Far I'll Go. It must not be no Wi-Fi, because those is TVs in the headrest. Why aren't the TVs on? That'd be the one good thing about being delayed on a Delta flight. At least most Delta flights got TVs in the headrest. They done already gave you headphones. You sit there and watch you know what I'm saying? You sit there and watch you a Creed 3. You could sit there and watch all the Oscar-nominated films for the past year that you ain't see, that you was never going to see unless you was seeing them on the plane. You be on other airlines and you just got to look out the window. You got to look at the person next to you. Parched. But the TVs, all the TVs in the headrest are off. So I don't know if that's why they felt like they needed entertainment. So I'm gonna be very honest with you. I am in the middle. I'm in the middle. I think that there's aspects of this that are very unreasonable. And although it's not ideal to me, I'm not a parent. I'm not a parent and I'm not a theater kid. I don't know what it feels like to tell your kid, get up there and do the thing you do. I don't know what that feels like. My mother never made me do nothing like that. She never made any of us do something like that. I often wonder why my like, as much as my siblings and I have succeeded in different things, and we're all very talented in different ways. I sometimes wonder, like, dang, why my mother, while she supported us, she didn't really push us to do certain things, right? So, like, when my sister got into this performing arts school, when she got into the performing arts school, when she was in high school and middle school, always was in performing arts, she was adamant. My mom provided her with all the support she needed. What you need, you need the CD to this musical. But my sister was so dedicated and committed, walking around the house all day, every day, singing. What's that song from? Harlem. And if you ever wanna, it was a song from Mo Better Blues. Was my sister's audition song. And the only reason why I know the melody and probably some of the words to that song now is because when I was very young, my sister was walking around the house every day, hours of the day, singing and belting at the top of her lungs because she was a theater kid. When my little brother had to audition to get into another performing arts school because he used to draw. It's like I don't remember my mom saying, oh, he always knew how to draw at 2 years old, and so I've been buying him books and sketching books and all. I remember my brother being very adamant and self-motivated, and my parents supporting that, buying the necessary supplies when he asked for it, but not really forcing it on him. But I know that there are parents that they live vicariously through their kids. If they kid even got a little bit of talent, I remember my younger sister who can sing. I was hosting an event for NBC, and the event was running. I was hosting like a film festival, like a shorts film festival for like NBC. Or who was hosting it? I wasn't hosting it. Sorry, that year, that was before I hosted it. Who was hosting it? Either Craig Robinson or some like comedian, some comedian that people knew from like an NBC show was like hosting it, right? And I'm outside like talking to my friends. I don't go into like the theater yet because it's like it's kind of running a little bit behind. So I guess they asked, or maybe it was Hannibal Buress hosting it. I don't know, but I guess they asked somebody, oh, to like kill time, like anybody want to come up here and show their talent. I'm in like the lobby talking to somebody, and I hear this voice belt out through the theater, and I'm like, is that my sister? My little sister. She was like 17 at the time. I was like, is that my sister? And my sister did a whole song in front of like 1,000 people. At 17, she ain't never had a singing lesson. I walked in, everybody was like, your sister was so good. I was like, I could have never did that. But I don't know what it's like to be a theater kid. To every party, every moment of the day for you to want to perform. Every moment of the day, everything you see the world as an opportunity. You see the world as your stage. I don't know what that's like. And I don't know what it's like to have a parent like that or be a parent like that, right? So I don't want to say like, oh, this is so unreasonable. Because also the grace that I could give, as much as I be on flights at 5 o'clock in the morning, as much as I be tired, as much as I'm antisocial, as much as I don't want to hear no little girl sing no song, especially respectfully, if it's going to have no sauce, if it's just going to be raw noodles with not even butter on it. You get what I'm saying? I personally probably don't want to hear it, but it's 2 minutes. It's 2 minutes. I got grace as a human being for 2 minutes. I have grace as a human being for 2 minutes. I'm not saying anybody else got to have grace. I'm just saying me, I got grace. In the same way, I do not want to hear a baby cry. On any flight, I don't want to hear babies screaming, especially on a 6 a.m. flight, especially on an 11:55 p.m. red-eye flight when all I plan to do is go to sleep. I do not want to hear that, but I can't be mad to babies cry. And I know that is a false equivalency because babies cry. Little girls do not have to sing on a PA. I know that. I'm just saying there is a lot of things in this life that I am subjected to. That if I could create my utopia, if I could create a perfect world, these things would never happen. But since I can't, and when they do happen, I'm just like, you know what? Does this really affect me that negatively or negatively at all? Does it really? A little girl, regardless of her ethnic makeup and her singing ability, singing for 2 minutes on a PA, on a flight that's already messed up. I just don't think it's that big of a deal. Now, let's talk about the race element, because there is a race element. That is not her parent standing next to her. That is a flight attendant standing next to her as she sings. So that means the flight attendant allowed her. I would imagine, and this is not factual, but I'm just going to imagine that the girl or the parent asked the flight attendant approved it, the flight attendant allowed her to walk to that PA, stood next to her and let her, you know what I'm saying? And let her sing and then escorted her right back to her seat. I would imagine that is how it went. I don't know why the flight attendant would allow that. And my experience makes me see this through my lens, my life. What I have experienced, I am a Black Muslim woman. I am a Black American Muslim woman. And it has been my experience that a lot of other people in this scenario wouldn't have been given the permission. If, God dang, I just realized how freaking good. If you've been to my live show, my closing bit, if you seen my possum bit, this video reminds me of why it's so good, because I get that this girl, she was allowed to be. This is a privilege. This is a privilege that at times, most times, are not allotted to other people that don't look like a little skinny white girl, a little young skinny white girl. And I'm not attacking this child. I'm just saying what it is. As I mentioned, the flight attendants, they wanted to kick the black lady off the plane who, what was her name? Bobby Storm was the gospel singer. She was scolded, not asked to sit down, not permitted, not given the PA system, scolded. It wasn't a delay. It was just a black lady, an older black lady on a plane that received probably the best news of her professional life. And here's the thing, just like I don't want to see no little white girl sing no Moana song, you know the Muslim in me don't want to hear no black lady sing no gospel, respectfully. And I love all my Christian people. I love all my non-Muslim people. I used to tell a joke. I used to be like, yo, so don't nobody mess up a prayer like a Christian. Because, all my friends is Christian. My family is Christian, aside from my, what I'm saying, my extended family is Christian. Always be praying. God, thank you for this food. Thank you for the hands that prepared this food. God this, God that. God bless us. God this, that. And right when I'm on board, like, yes, God, because we all believe in God. We all praise God. This part is probably controversial for y'all, so forgive me. I ain't trying to start no religious war. But everything in the prayer be God. And then right in the end, they be like, in Jesus' name, I'll be like, now I got to re-pray over these yams. Why they couldn't just say, God again? I don't got time to go into like Christianity and Islam and stuff like that. I do believe in Jesus. I do. So I'm not saying that. But it's like, wow, in Jesus' name. In Jesus the Father and the Holy Ghost. I thought we were singing God. When did these people come in? When did these human beings from another time come in? These prophets. When did the prophet come in? When did one of the messengers of God come in? I thought God did all of this. Now you gonna say it was one of his messengers. What you talking about? Shanira, you said, am I getting into that with Tab? No, because she don't really do that to me. You hear Tab be like, oh God, I thank you. I think she always say God. Oh God, I thank you. But it remind me of when I was so young. I'm sorry, y'all. This is a sidebar. I know I always be, if you don't watch this podcast enough, if you ever been to my comedy show, it's like we're gonna have a sidebar, right? I'm gonna veer off the highway for a second. I'll never forget, and forgive me if I told y'all this before. When I was so young, like 5 years old or something like that, right? We had my grandmother's house in Brooklyn, and it's Thanksgiving, and I was like about 5 years, like in that age range, and all the food is prepared, and we ain't really celebrate like Thanksgiving in my house like that. So that's like kind of how we having a Thanksgiving meal. We going over to my grandmother's house, right? So we sitting around the table, all the food is on the table, and my grandmother says to my father, she says, okay, we gonna let your father say grace. If you Muslim, if you know a Muslim, before we eat, we just be before a lot of things, we just be like Bismillah, Bismillah, Bismillah. We're gonna bow our head, we're gonna say close our eyes, Bismillah, and then we ready to eat. My grandmother said we're gonna let your father say grace. You know what I'm saying? And a Thanksgiving meal, people be liking grace to go on for like 62 minutes. Now I'm lying. You see what I'm saying? Because grace really be like a minute and 45 seconds, which is very long when you smelling turkey in front of you, and macaroni and cheese, and collard greens in front of you, and cornbread and butter. You know what I'm saying? A minute and 45 seconds is a long time to sit through somebody talking about, and thank you for the grocer that cut, and thank you for the feet, and thank you for, you know what I'm saying? When somebody saying all of that stuff, and thank God, you know what I'm saying? Cousin, thank God, cousin Jerry is out of the hospital, and you know what I'm saying? When it's like that's a long time. 2 minutes is a long time when the aroma of a fresh cooked meal is on the table under your nose. My grandmother said, we're going to let your father say grace. My father said, okay. Like happily. And he bowed his head and he said, Bismillah. And then he came up and went and reached for whatever plate he reached for. My grandmother and my grandfather was like this. Punked did not exist at this time. They thought they was being punked. My grandmother was like, my Christian grandmother, my grandmother from where they film Sinners. My mother just told her, I knew my grandmother was from Mississippi, or my grandfather, they were from Mississippi. And Clarksdale, I believe specifically. My grandmother was like, Christian. She the grandmother that told me, she my maternal grandmother, told me she was gonna take me and let the pastor lay hands on me. Remember when I tore my ACL and I needed to go see an orthopedic doctor? My grandmother said, no, we're gonna get the pastor to lay hands on your knee. And I said, Grandma, I got to go see a surgeon, okay? And they got to do something to the tendon, you know what I'm saying? We also going to have God pull me through this, but what we not about to do is have some man that run that church, no shade, respectfully, the pastor, not some man, but the pastor, talk about shama. I'm not making fun, respectfully. I'm just saying it's that grandmother is what I'm saying. It's that grandmother. My father said, Bismillah. My grandmother was like, go and stop. My father had the plate in his hand, had the dish in his hand. My grandmother said, oh, no. Put that down. I thought you was going to say grace. My father said, and I'm sitting there like 5 years old, knowing where it's going. I'm like, he did say grace. In my mind, he did say grace. But I ain't about to. My grandmother, she was a pincher. When we were kids, if we ain't do something right, she had long red nails and she would pinch us. So I said, I ain't saying shit because she going to pinch me. I ain't got time for this lady to be pinching me, okay? Because she going to pinch and twist, and I'm telling you, it takes your soul from your body. Her pinches, she don't do it no more. I don't think like the great grandkids be getting pinched by her. I think she has since grown out of that. But for us, when we was little, it was, and I used to be like, this is so disrespectful and painful for you to pinch me the way you pinching me. I don't even know if I did anything to deserve that. But let me look and see. I don't got no scars from it, but as a kid, it goes into your soul. It hurts your spirit. You cry from the inside, okay? We got to get the lights up. Miss Josie, that is exactly what she said. She said, oh no, I asked you to say grace. My father was like, I did say grace. She was like, no, and she said, like, bless the food. My father said, Bismillah. I'm saying all of that to say, just in terms of my personal preference, I don't want to see no little girl singing no Moana song. I don't want to see no, you know what I'm saying, no vanilla. And I'm not saying vanilla because the little girl is white. I'm saying vanilla because she really ain't had no sauce on the song. You know what I'm saying? It was like, she almost seemed like she was singing under duress. I'm like, are you a theater kid or not? Because what you doing don't look like fun at all. It don't look like you living out your dream. If this is an audition, I'm sorry, you not going to Hollywood. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I don't know, you're not really, it's like, I'm sweating. So that's why I'm saying it's vanilla, because it was like, it ain't had no, you know what I'm saying? When somebody just give you some bread, and you like, I mean, the bread is cool, but it would be so great with some butter on it. And you got some house-made jam. Oh, now it's toast. Right? When somebody just hands you some sliced toast, not even fresh break bread, but just some sliced toast out the bag, you like, what am I supposed to do with this? And you already how long ago you toasted it? Because it looked like it got a little bit of color on it, but it feels cold. What am I supposed to do with this? And then they bring out that nice, fresh butter. And they got a little bit of raw, like rough sea salt on it, and then you spread it, you like, okay, I could do this. The bread still, you know what I'm saying? It's a basic ass bread, but I could do this. And then they come and be like, oh, and it's cherry season this time of year. We grow all the cherries. And so we made fresh cherry jam or jelly or preserve or whatever. And they bring you that out, and they're like, you want me to bring you a hot tea? Now we have breakfast, is what I'm saying. Now we have a meal. But that's just, you know what I'm saying? That was just like a little bit of toast, just like some plain ass toast. So even that, or the black lady singing a gospel song, singing one of her very own gospel songs with a whole bunch of sauce. With a whole bunch of sauce. I'm not here for, I don't need to hear none of it in my utopia, in my ideal flight. My ideal flight, I don't even be wanting them to go through the safety instructions. That's how much I don't want to hear nothing on the plane. I don't even want you to tell me that the oxygen masks are going to drop from the overhead compartment. Please secure your mask before helping anyone else. I don't even want to hear that in my ideal world. But I know it got to happen. Because you don't want that emergency to come and somebody be like, now where's the oxygen masks? But these are they both Delta flights. This is a young white girl and an older black woman. And we just always we are constantly seeing the policing. We're constantly seeing, they scolded her. They scolded her for singing. Now, this is what I can imagine. While I'm not a theater kid nor a parent of a theater kid, or living vicariously through my kid, what I can imagine is getting the biggest news in my professional life and it being very difficult to contain my joy, excitement, and my desire to share that with the world, even if they're strangers. If I was on my way home on a Delta flight and they said you was just nominated for an Emmy, I'm either going to shut down and get real, like, flight attendant going to be like, you need anything? You want me to bring something to drink? I'm going to be like, because I'm going to be processing. And I'm going to be too afraid to look it up because it's like, what if it's true? What if it's not true? I'm going to be too afraid. I'm going to be like too afraid. It's almost like when the kids that want to go to a certain college and they too afraid to open they letter from the college. Like they don't know if they got accepted or not. They too afraid. They like, you got to open it for me. That's how I would be. Or I would be like, they would be like, how's your day? I would get on the flight and they would be like, how are you doing today, Miss Johnson? And I would be like, I just found out I was nominated for an Emmy. I probably would be the reverse because, I don't be liking people in my business. But I think that it's very hard I think that it's impossible, rather, to talk about this thing without including the so often experienced inequality that you know what I'm saying, that we're subjected to. And because that exists, because possibly a year ago, I saw Delta, I saw representatives of your corporation, of your company, scold a woman in damn near the same scenario, it's very hard for me to appreciate and celebrate this little girl getting up there saying Moana for 2 minutes or 45 minutes on this PA system. It's very hard for me to appreciate that. And that ain't got nothing to do with the little girl. The little girl, she just living her life. That got everything to do with you, Delta, as a company. That got everything to do with these big corporations and these people of these corporations that they uphold all of these prejudices, all of these policing, they uphold. Everybody be like, this is systemic. This is systematic. Yeah. A friend of mine she always said, always said, yeah, but people are the ones that enforce the system. People are the ones that carry out the actions of the system. You can talk about redlining all you want. It's still people working in those banks that upheld the policing and the inability to grow communities. It's people, one at a time, saying, yup, we're going to buy into this system that celebrates and gives privilege to this person over here because of this, and polices and demotes this person over here because of this. Now, I do want to point out that all the passengers and in the comments that they got a problem with it. I mean, these are people from all walks of life. White, black, yellow, red, Asian, Spanish, old, young, speak English, don't speak English, influencers, not influencers. Is that, you know what I'm saying? This is not the people who like, I'm not down with this. And some of the people who like, it's not that bad. Oh, they also come from all different walks of life. Let me see y'all, what y'all talk about. My flight attendant on my flight this morning, I flew from Atlanta. My flight took off at 7 o'clock this morning from Atlanta airport on Delta. I was knocked out most of the time. I ain't even have, they bring you your meal. I ain't even, whatchamacallit. He was like, and you had the banana bread French toast? I said, I'm about to be asleep. It's fine. I ain't about to eat that. I'm going to be knocked out for this 4 hours and 15 minutes. I'm going to be knocked out. Thank you so much. I was mad that I had to get up one time and go to the bathroom. I was so mad. But he had jokes. Before we took off, everything, he had jokes. He was like, because, he was trying to sell like a Delta card, like a Delta credit card or something like that. And he was like, and just FYI, I'm just one commission away from getting my iPad. Like, he had jokes. It was funny, too. His jokes was funny. He had personality. And you know what I'm saying? It's like, he seemed like he would do real well on a cruise ship. You know what I'm saying? He seemed like he got that type of vibe, that type of MC vibe. That sort of comedic vibe for a cruise ship. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't mind, you know what I'm saying? I was like, look at him. I like I said, I prefer him be quiet as quick as possible so I can go to sleep. But I also have noise canceling headphones. I travel with noise canceling headphones. And so, and I think a lot of people have like earpods now, right? Earpods, the AirPod Pros. Like most headphones that people have, unless you have a basic headphone and no judgment on that. But most headphones are like noise canceling. So again, like I'm saying, it was 2 minutes to this little girl. You could put on your noise canceling ear. Like people was on the plane, like they was like this is so, it's like, whatever. Okay, what y'all talking about? Fadmer, I'm not drinking soda. I'm drinking kombucha. This is a local California brand from Long Beach. They're not paying me for this free ad, but it is delicious. They're called Fine Feathers Kombucha. Once I tasted them during Ramadan. It was after an iftar. I went to an iftar and like broke my fast at the iftar with dates and like tea, but I had an actual meal. And so my friends and I, we went to this plant-based restaurant. And I'm not a alcohol drinker, and so I asked the waiter if they had kombucha, and he did. He was like, yeah, and it was so good. He brought us 2 flavors. He brought us this ginger flavor, and he brought us like a sage flavor or something like that. And that didn't work for me. But this, I did not forget about it. So I drank it, and then I was like, what was the brand? And he told me the brand. I looked them up. I almost drove to Long Beach to pick it up, and then I realized they will ship it to me. And so they ship me cans of kombucha. So this is far from soda. This literally, the reason why I like this brand is because it tastes like I'm drinking a can of ginger. A lot of people ain't gonna like this one. This kombucha, it's too strong. This tastes like a can of ginger. A can of cold ginger with a tiny bit of, you know what I'm saying, the kombucha probiotic. This is all, I mean, it's burning. Every time it seems like I'm drinking, like, ooh, that's like, it's burning every time it go down. But it's a good burn. Woo! So you ain't never got to tell me not to drink soda. Mrs. Jones, it is Fine Feathers Kombucha. They're a small company. I don't know what their company stand. You know what I'm saying? I'm hoping that the politics of this particular small company ain't politics that are completely in opposition to my politics and morale and morals. But as of now, from what I know, I spoke to the person at the brewery. That it's a very small batch, small operation. And I really, really appreciate them. And they're not mass market. They're not mass produced. You can only get them in California, in this part of California. And they still are not, they still run the same price as if you're getting like a kombucha from like Whole Foods or something. And that's you know what I'm saying? That says a lot. It's like, I don't know, like $4 a can or something like that. Same as a GT's or a Health Aid kombucha, which is nowhere near. Couldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole. Okay, did I cover everything? Let's see. Inequality, lying about the facts. I'll be making little notes, y'all. Flight delays. I think I covered everything. I did see that somebody said that Delta made a statement. Two things. I see that people said that Delta made a statement. I will be very honest. I didn't see this in writing. And like I said, there is a lot of lying. There is a lot of intentional misinformation. Now, y'all know, I say this all the time. I be messing up. I be saying the wrong thing. It don't be intentional. Sometimes it just be from a lack of sleep, or I'd be kind of like what was I saying on the last episode? Not the last live, which by the way, I ordered an Ethernet cord so that I think that was the issue, so that I could connect. So it's not over Wi-Fi, so that I'm plugging my modem right into the computer. Anyway, we'll go again this Wednesday, live this Wednesday, right? But will we be live? Will we be live this Wednesday? I have to host like a women in music thing. Oh no. Oh no. Oh yeah, we will be live. Okay, I have to host that on Tuesday. We will be live on Wednesday. But why was I saying that? Oh, because the episode before, and I was saying pancreatic cancer. In my mind, I just knew I was saying prostate. And at some point when I was saying it, in my mind, I was thinking, it's taking me, why is it taking me so many syllables to say prostate? But, so I'm never doing it intentionally, right? But it happens. But there is an intentional, a deliberate thing that happens online where people just want to spread misinformation. And so I don't know what I'm about to say. I don't know if it's true. One person said that Delta released a statement saying that they apologized for the delay, and they said something about the little girl, but it was not bad. Like, they didn't apologize that they allowed that to happen. But I don't know. Usually if Delta makes any corporation makes an official statement, you can see it in some sort of reputable, do you get what I'm saying? On some sort of reputable media platform, or on some sort of, you know what I'm saying? Like, why isn't this, you know? And then this morning, there were a few videos circulating saying that the parents of this little girl was added to Delta's no-fly list. I don't know if that's true at all. I don't know if that's true at all. But if the parents were added, and then I'll leave on that. If the parents were added to the no-fly list, the parents and the little girl, right? The parents and the little girl, was that reasonable or not? Would that be reasonable or unreasonable for Delta to add them to the no-fly list? And should the flight attendant who allowed it, should they be let go? Miss Josie, y'all knew what I meant. I be sometimes in the comments and people be like, I think you meant prostate. But after like the 7th person say it, I'll be like, do they not read each other's comments? Y'all being quite redundant on here. But then whenever I start thinking like that, I'll be like, okay, let me get up out the comments. Cadence, why are you bringing up old stuff? Why you bringing up old stuff, Cadence? Ain't nobody said nothing. It went under the radar. Let it stay there. You know they probably gonna bring it back up when I'm winning the Emmy. When I'm having my biggest career moment in my life. You know they gonna bring up all the shit that I did wrong. Let it happen then. Don't bring it up now. Dang, Bankroll Fendi, you late. Mila Mendez, Southeast Asia, like where specifically? Where specifically? Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia, like Japan? The flight attendant, Samira said, the flight attendant should be added to the no-fly list herself as well. Thank you, Still I Rise, for adding my website so you guys can get your tickets. Like I said, I will be in St. Louis, Missouri this week. I will be in St. Louis. Yeah, I will be in I was again like, wait, is that a Wednesday? No, it's a Thursday. June 4th, Thursday, June 5th. I will be in St. Louis, Missouri at the City Winery in St. Louis, Missouri. Get those tickets if you haven't already. And then June, did I say May? Yo, put me back to sleep. I'm tired. June 6th, 7th, and 8th, I will be in Kansas City, Missouri at the Kansas City Comedy Club. And so, as Still I Rise has put in the comments, those tickets are available on my website, zainabjohnson.com, ZAINAB Johnson.com. Thank you guys so much for tuning into This Weekend Live. I figured that's what you was talking about, Mila, Malaysia, Singapore. It's funny, I was in Thailand last year, but I wasn't performing. And I did Malaysia. I did a whole tour some years ago. I don't know when I'll be back, but I actually performed in Malaysia, Singapore. I did a whole, first I did China. I did a bunch of cities in China. And then I went down and did Singapore, Malaysia. Yeah, in Malaysia, I did Kuala Lumpur. But that was some years ago. So I imagine that I'll make it back there. And when I do, I will come right to y'all first and be like, yo, I'm going to Southeast Asia to tell these jokes. So get your tickets. Anywho. Oh, yes. I forgot to say, I will be June 18th. I'm doing a show in New York City. One night only. It's right before my Baltimore shows. I'm doing a show in New York City at the Village Underground for the comedy, which is the Comedy Cellar. That is June 18th. That is Wednesday, June 18th, right? That's a Wednesday? Wednesday, June 18th at 6 p.m. at the Village Underground. When I tell y'all, you're not going to come and see me do a full hour. I'll be on stage for, the show will be 90 minutes. I'll be on stage for most of it. But when I tell y'all, this will probably be one of the funniest shows you ever see. It'll have Yamanika Saunders, which is hilarious, undeniably hilarious. It'll have Amina Imani, who is so unserious. She's so funny and she's so unserious. It's like, how are you so successful in life being this ridiculous? You know what I'm saying? It'll have Chloe Hilliard that pulls us all together. Very funny, but make sure everything stays on track. And then you know me, the voice of reason. The funny ass voice of reason. That is June 18th, 6 p.m., New York City, at the Village Underground Comedy Cellar. Those tickets are available right now via the Comedy Cellar's website, but I will also add it to my website. So if you're in New York City, make sure you get those tickets before they sell out. Okay? Yeah. And then, next weekend I'll be in San Francisco. Make sure y'all get those tickets. San Francisco, June 13th and 14th, okay? And I've been signing my vinyls after the show, like selling and signing my vinyls, Hijabs Off vinyls, the album. And I'll be feeling so bad because I'll bring what I think is a lot and they'll sell out in the first show. And in the second show, I felt so bad. Atlanta, the second show, I was like, dang, I only got 5 left. And they told me, like, the venue people was like, yeah, they was kind of like it was like when people was lining up, it was a bit of a, you know what I'm saying? It was a bit tense because people was fighting to get those first 5 slots in line so that they could. Anywho, thank y'all so much for tuning into This Weekend Live. Yes, Shay F. I'll be in DC October 10th, actually. Thank you so much for tuning into this weekend's live. Shout out to our moderators this week, Still I Rise and Shaneria K. Thank you so much. I will see you guys next time. But as always, until we see each other again, what do we do as the reasons? We try to stay as reasonable as possible. All right, bye you guys. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.